Welcome to another Twin Cam. Jan with you.
And Eric.
Good to be back. We have something pretty interesting this time around. Yeah, it's a Jaguar station wagon.
Station wagon. Let those words sink in. How often does anyone drive a station wagon anymore, let alone sell a new one in the American market?
Now, there have been some Jag station wagons, particularly overseas in the last decade or so, different models. But for them to come to America and sell a version of the XF, which is what this is Jaguar's XF sedan, the S version of it, in a wagon. It has all-wheel drive.
So they call it the 2018 Jaguar XF Sportbrake. Sportbrake for a wagon, S all-wheel drive. That's what this is.
I have to give them credit, first of all, for doing this. You know, at a time when crossovers and SUVs
everything has to be way up there.
Right, are so promoted and so favored, it's refreshing that makers like Jaguar take the time and put the effort into what, let's face it, will probably be a pretty low volume car. So, clap Jaguar, well done.
And you have to say, and you'll see it in the shots, it's a good looking vehicle.
It is, in fact.
They've done a nice job packaging this and making a nice blend line and exterior mold line.
I'd go so far as to say and argue that it's the best looking XF there is.
I don't think you get any disagreement from me on that one.
Yeah, it has nice accents, sort of a nice body shape and trim all around. It rides on 20-inch wheels, which are attractive.
And this one, and you'll see it has the S body kit, which is basically rocker extensions along the door sills, and this, I guess they call it a diffuser back here.
It's powered by the supercharged V6 that Jaguar uses in several of their models, including one that may be spiritually close to this, the F-Pace SUV. It produces 380 horsepower and 332 pound-feet of torque. If you put your foot all the way down from a dead stop, it takes a moment for the engine to come to life with the supercharger spinning up enough to really give it some grunt. But people say it'll get to 60 in a little bit over 5 seconds, and that's what we've found, about 5.3 to 5.5.
And of course you've got all-wheel grip, so there's really no drama off the line. It just kind of hooks up and goes. It could be a little quicker, but it's 4,000 pounds, a little more, right?
Yeah, 4,045 pounds, which is something like 70 pounds or so more than the regular XF sedan. In this case, I don't mind that. This is a station wagon, a stylish one. Does it hurt performance at all? I think people have measured it and they say it may take 0.2 away from your 0 to 60 time. So really, not much to care about in that light.
On a broader front, you know, it's the S model, and there have been some folks who have reviewed it and said it's quite sporty and it has a lot of performance capability. Yes, it's good for a station wagon, but it's not going to bowl you over with its performance. It's built to do the mission that station wagons have always done, and in the terms of this one, with the cargo space it offers available, perhaps even a little bit better than other Jaguar models.
And if we talk about the interior in terms of what a wagon is supposed to do, and that's haul stuff, yeah, it's not bad. In fact, it's better than its older brother F-Pace. This offers 69.7 cubic feet of interior volume, whereas the F-Pace, I believe, is 63.5 cubic feet. So the wagon wins. Again,
score one for the wagon.
Yeah, score one for the wagons. And we should say, Eric and I are admittedly wagon fans. I know a lot of you may not be, but we grew up with them. I love them. I think they're great.
First car that either of us drove on any kind of a regular basis was an old 1973 Ford Torino, Grand Torino station wagon. So
Great car.
yeah, I've got a soft
351
spot.
cubic inch
Yeah,
V8
Cleveland motor, not a Windsor motor.
Not a Windsor motor. It was a great car.
3-speed transmission, second's the go gear, third is
Anyway,
the
back to the Jaguar. Then we'll reminisce about that some other time. Most people compare the Jaguar XF Sportbrake to the Mercedes-Benz E400 wagon or the Volvo S90 wagon. And when you talk about that competition, interestingly enough, the Jaguar is priced right at the top.
I think this is, as this one sits, the Monroney says 84,000 and change. I forget exactly, but we'll put it up on the screen for
But it
you.
starts around 70 grand, and
Oh, yeah.
I think a couple of the competitors start for less money. So it is not an inexpensive option.
As you can see, the XF Sportbrake has a really nice plan form, a nice line. There's some sculpting on the sides, and I really do like the character of this roof line. I also like the black trim around the A-B pillar and the doors. However, if you look at this roof line, you'll note that it does slope away for a stylistic effect. That makes for a good looking wagon, but it has some other consequences. And what are those consequences? Well, I'm about 5'10", and if I sit even all the way back, you'll see me sink into here a little bit. I've only got about maybe an inch to a little over of an inch in terms of headroom. So if you're 5'11", if you're 6'1", 2'3", it's going to be a little cramped for you back here in the back of the XF Sportbrake.
Another interesting thing to note that makes the car attractive and gives it some light inside is the big swath of glass Jaguar calls the fixed panoramic roof for the XFS Sportbrake. It actually extends from just short of the header up here all the way back to behind the rear seats. And it does let a lot of light into the car. It's fixed though, so you cannot retract it. I've got it in eco mode right now, even though we're cruising along around 70-ish on the highway, because why not? We're averaging about 21.5 mpg, which is, well, not sterling for this car, given the testing others have done. It's not too bad. I would say in normal driving, it's nice, it's pleasant, and overall, it certainly doesn't trip over itself,
Not at
but
all.
it also doesn't make you want to drive it, really. But then again, as we said, this is a sporty car. It is not really a sports car. Its mission is
Well,
to be...
there is the S there, the XF S.
Its mission is to be a wagon and offer you some utility, and that it does fairly well. There are some plastics in here that aren't
This one
ideal
has,
in a car with a sticker price. This one has that's optioned at 84 or whatever it was.
84,000 plus.
Also, one thing that I'd point out is JLR, Jaguar Land Rover, was early to the game, particularly in the Land Rovers, with these full digital gauge packages, gauge clusters, the TFT gauges. To me, honestly, in a luxury car, maybe when they first came out, they were something special or different. Now, really, they just look like a very quote-unquote cost-effective way for a manufacturer to give you an instrument cluster. I think real instruments with dials that are analog and well-crafted and precise, to me that's luxury more than a simple digital TFT display. On the comfort side, I'll say, you know, we've been in the car about an hour and a half now. On this drive, seats are pretty comfortable.
The ride is generally pretty comfortable. We're in Eco, the softest setting. Why would you need anything else on the
remember,
highway?
we're talking about the front seats here. The rear wouldn't be bad, but as Eric pointed out before, the rear headroom, if you're much taller than we are at like 5'10" and a half, you're gonna get up near that headliner pretty quick.
Let's, if we can, get to sort of a bottom line for the XF Sportbrake. I'll give you my take. I think it's an attractive car. I think it has some nice qualities. It is a very capable car, if not a sports car. However, I think the price is probably not justified by the overall presentation and content.
Agreed. I think that would be my number one comment. I come back to the fact that in saying that Jaguar should be commended for making a station wagon. I think there should be more of them. I'd rather have more of these, fewer CUVs, SUVs, tall cars that don't really have any purpose in being tall, other than some segment of the population liked them at some point, and now they're being pushed.
Absolutely. Speaking of pushing, let's push on to the drag races in Richmond.
Let's do it.